Welcome to a new section, everyone. In this section, I will be introducing you to a completely new topic. This is called Power Query. Now, before we understand what is the problem statement, let's quickly hop over back to Google and see what is Power Query. Power Query is a Microsoft tool. It is a tool that is available on a number of platforms. So it is available on SQL Server, on Power BI, as well as on Excel. And Power Query primarily is a data connectivity and preparation tool that allows you to shape and transform your data. Now, Power Query does not use the same language as Excel, so it doesn't work on Visual Basic. Power Query uses a completely different language called M, just the letter M. Some people call it M, some people call it M Query. To read more about this, you can visit the official Microsoft documentation. So think of Power Query as a data preparation and connectivity and transformation tool. It allows you to reshape your data in the way that you want to. Now, if you are working on Excel 2010 and 13, then you will have to download Power Query from the internet. It's a free installation. If you have 16 and if you have 2016 or 2019 or Office 365 and Microsoft 365, then Power Query is already integrated in your Excel. If you haven't seen it so far, not to worry, you might not have noticed it. In the data tab, you have this entire group called get and transform data, and this is nothing but Power Query. So this entire group of commands that you see, this is Power Query. There are a bunch of options here, so it is allowing me to connect to different data sets. I can connect to XML, JSON, PDF, folder, text, CSV. I can connect to databases. I can connect to Microsoft Azure, Power BI datasets, and I can also connect to the internet and create a blank query. We can also merge and append queries, and we can launch the Power Query editor. So we will do a bunch of examples. Let's start with the first one. Now I have a working file in which there are three sheets. The first one has two rows in it for the region East. The second one has two rows for South, and the third one has two rows for North. Our objective is to pull all the three tables one below the other. That means we want to append it. So I want table number 1 and then table number 2 and table number 3 to come one below the other. Now usually we would have done this with a copy and paste, but I want to show you how we can use Power Query to do this. Now the first thing that I want to do is to make sure that the tables are named properly. So on the first table, we notice that it is called table 1, which is great. The second one is table 2 and the third one is table 3. Now we have to first take all these three tables to Power Query editor, from where we have an option to append it. Now what we can also try to do is to simply click on get data, combine queries and append. And the moment you click on this, it says what is your primary table and what is your secondary table. But you notice that it is not really allowing you to select anything. Why not? Remember, we do have tables in our workbook. Like I showed you, we have three tables, table 1, 2 and 3. But it says that we don't currently have any queries in our workbook. So this is very important. Even if you have tables, remember you have to first take your table to Power Query editor. Let's do that. So I will select table number 1, and on data we will click on this button called from table oblique range. This means that there would be a new query which is linked to this table. When I click on this, a new interface opens up. This is called the Power Query editor, as you can see in the top left corner. And let's not worry too much about the interface. We will do all these things in a lot more detail in the forthcoming lectures. Let's just focus on the part that a query has been saved called table 1. And this is the data set that has got picked up. What I want to do now is to simply click on close and load. And now what will happen is that that query will get loaded into a new sheet on your workbook. Let's do the same thing with the other two tables also. So I select table number 2 from table oblique range. And here we select close and load. And then one final time, we select the third table, click on data from table range, and we click on close and load. So if you notice, we have 6 sheets with us: the table, the query, the table, the query, the table, the query. What do we do now? We can select data, get data, combine queries, and then click on append because we want to append 3 queries. And this time you notice we can select 3 or more tables. We can choose all the 3, click on add, press OK, and now you notice that in one click, all the 6 rows from the 3 tables have been appended together. And when I click on close and load, you would notice that a 7th sheet is created. Perfect, it has all the 6 rows in it. Let's just do a little bit of cleaning. So I want to delete my other query. And finally, my third query, which is sheet number 6. So remember, what have we done? We have only kept the 3 sheets which has the data set, and we have kept the 4th sheet that has the final result in it. Let me call this final. Now you might be wondering, but Havish, what is the point? Could we not have just copied and pasted it? Now the reason we have not done a copy paste is because by using a query, you have created a connection. That means that if I come back to my first table and I add one more record, let's say 70, come to my second table and I add a record 50, and I come to my third table and I add 2 records here. So we have 30 and 40. How do we update the final data set? We can simply right click and then select refresh, and you notice in one single click, the data will get refreshed. Very cool, right? Now this means that even though combining all the 3 does take a little bit of manual effort, it's only a one-time effort. It means that in the future, as in how more records will get added, the table will automatically get refreshed. For that matter, even if you made a change to any one of these, for example, the 50 I'm changing to 10, if I come back and click on refresh, you would notice that the first value is automatically getting changed. Very cool, right? And if you go back and remove something, so if I'm removing this north 10 and 20, and we come back, we refresh, you would notice that the 10 and 20 have gone away from north. So we have created a live connection with all the 3 other tables, which means that if any change happens to those 3 tables, the same change will reflect here as well. Now imagine you want to make any further changes to the Power Query editor. You can simply right click on table and then select edit query. This is one option. The other one would be to go to data, select get data, and then click on launch Power Query editor. This can be very handy in case you want to add even more tables going forward. So this was a quick example. I hope all of you are able to see how powerful the tool is and how much automation you can do in your working by using Power Query. And in the next few lectures, we will do even more advanced examples.